Hey guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Lowdown. I'm Wellington. Second day in a row that you'll be seeing my face. And this video is pretty late, seeing as how I had the con on Saturday and then work on Sunday and then kind of doing other stuff yesterday and came with you at my Tampa Comic Con video yesterday anyways. So this video today, I'm bringing you guys my reviews for last week's books. And yeah, so as per usual, I review my books from least liked to pick of the week, and timestamps are in the description below to fast forward to any specific review that you want to see. And we'll just get started right away with the first book of the week. That is Low, issue number 1. Sorry. This book, what you have to know about me is that science fiction is not my favorite genre. There are science fiction stories that I do like a lot. And, so keeping that in mind, don't take me not being super impressed with this book don't think that this book was bad, because I personally did not totally enjoy the book. If you are into sci-fi, you'll probably really like this book, because there are some really good things that happen throughout this book. And this is probably the first book that I didn't really like from the jump that Rick Remender does. Rick Remender is one of my favorite writers, but I do like more of a grounded storyline, kind of grounded characters, and something that I can kind of wrap my head around. There was too many, for me at least, there was too many things that I could not follow. It was as if I was already in the story, like places and just terms and things like that I had no idea what I was reading. And there would be long passages of dialogue, including all these like terms and places and things that I can't even follow. So that kind of took away from the book, and I just was not into it. Another thing is that, along with not being a huge sci-fi fan, I'm also not a huge fan of books that take place in water for whatever reason. So this book is both. It's sci-fi and it takes place underwater. So kind of puts two of the things that I don't go with very often together. But the upside to this is that while the beginning was kind of filled with all this like dragging on and things like that, the ending was definitely that all built up to a satisfying ending, and kind of now the story is going to really start. This was all really what I feel was set up to what the story will be. Gonna be like kind of a action adventure, get my kids back kind of story, and it seems like the main character is also a female character, which is another plus, because you don't really see that much in comics, a strong female lead. And so I'll give issue 2 a try, seeing as how I really liked the ending of this book, and hopefully the ending kind of sets the pace for the rest of the issues, because I really do love Rick Remender's work. And so I'll still be giving issue number 2 a try, but issue number 1 I wasn't too big of a fan of. So that's Low number 1. Next book here is Ghost Rider number 5, the only big 2 book that I have this week. This book was also pretty good. It just ended the story arc. This is the first story arc still, and it just ended, or I believe it just ended. And yeah, it was just kind of action throughout the book, and kind of the characters that the main villains were defeated in this issue, and Robbie got his brother Gabe's chair back, so that was good. There wasn't much story building because it's the end of the story. It didn't really set much up for the future either. But the way that this is going, this is kind of like street level, so there's not some big villain introduced or anything for the next issues. We're kind of see what happens later, and this is definitely more like stories driven by family and the city surrounding them rather than a villain versus the hero. And it also seems that this book is going to have conflict between Robbie and the Eli, which is the spirit of vengeance in this book, because they are at such odds, but they're at subtle odds. So I feel like this concept is going to kind of blow up in their faces soon enough. I also like kind of how raw the book is about attitudes people have. One of the main kind of antagonists in Robbie's life, kind of the bully in this book, he's definitely a bully and he's very offensive. And I like how they depict that because it's real, and he does get what he deserves in this book. So that made me really happy. And yeah, so Ghost Rider issue number 5, kind of just wrapped the story up, and that's pretty much it. But it's still a really good book. I'm still on it, still loving it. So yeah, so that's Ghost Rider issue number 5. This next book here actually really surprised me, and this is Mercy Sparx issue number 1 by Devil's Due Comics. I only picked this up because the writer Josh Blaylock was actually at my shop signing, and so I picked it up, the number 1 issue, saying I'd give it a try. Just read it today, and again, most of the books I got, actually all the books I got this week are all books that don't fit my favorite kind of genre, which is street level kind of crime dramas. None of these books are that, and all of them are either sci-fi or have some kind of supernatural, heaven and hell kind of deal. And also supernatural heaven and hell things I also don't really like, because they're not, they're too supernatural. And that's all the books that I got this week. So really weird week for me to get kind of all the genres that I don't really like, but I really liked pretty much all the books that came out. So that was definitely a plus, especially this book. What this book is about is heaven kind of sends, in short, heaven is using this demon Mercy as kind of not a representative but an agent to do their bidding how they please, to kind of like capture or like bring to justice these rogue angels living on earth. And so she takes orders from heaven and she gets paid for it. So that's a plus. She's a really cool character. She whoops a lot of ass, especially with these brass knuckles that she has that spells ass backwards. So when she punches somebody in the face, they're branded with ass on their face, which is really hilarious. This book has a lot of just funny jokes in it, which I really loved. And what made this book so good for me was that even though Mercy is a demon and there is forces of heaven and hell all throughout this book, everything seemed really just kind of street level and down to earth. So that's pretty much why this book was so fun for me and why I feel like I'm going to continue with this book. And yeah, I don't want to get too much into the story because there's a lot to it. It's a really thick issue. But I was impressed with the book. It's signed as well. And I think I'll put it on my pull list and give it some more tries. So that was Mercy Sparx issue number 1. Next book here is Outcast issue number 2. This book really surprised me, seeing as how last issue was a big kind of exorcism issue, and this issue kind of just reflects a little bit on that and was more of kind of getting to know the main character, Kyle Barnes, and what his life has been like, where he visits his mom in the hospital, and she seems like she can't really talk and communicate, and he's kind of realizing that all the beatings that she gave him while he was young was because she was possessed by some demon and not because she hated him. And he kind of hates himself for hating her for all this time, and it seems like he's responsible for putting her in the hospital. We don't really get that much information. Another thing in here is we met a priest last issue. I can't remember his name, and they don't say it in this issue. But this priest who did the exorcism in the last issue, we see him giving his service today, and a kind of mysterious figure is in his church, like in his church room, and just stands in the back kind of staring at him and kind of creeping out the priest. And the next thing you know, he disappears. And so, we got this kind of element of he's probably a demon, and he's kind of stalking the main two characters that we see now. We also get another extra backstory, or start doing the backstory to another character that has affected Kyle's life, and that is a person named Donnie, who was also another kind of adopted child, and we see that he's done some wrongs to Donnie and his sister in their younger life, and he's coming back into their life now and kind of trying to repent, but he's met with a beating. And there's a lot of good stuff in this book, and it actually surprised me because I felt like this issue was going to be an issue that made me drop it, but it actually just made me want to read it more. I know some people are dropping it, but I actually really liked it. And so yeah, Outcast number 2 kept me really interested in the book. But the final book I have here, which is my pick of the week, is Black Science issue number 7. So happy that this book is back from its break. And we start off with the main characters kind of in a bad situation. They're about to get eaten. At least most of the main characters. Them being Sean, Rebecca, Pia, and Nate. Who Pia and Nate are Grant's kids. And spoiler alert if you haven't read the first volume yet. So spoiler alert. Alright, so Grant ended up dying at the end of the first arc. So his dying wish, and he made it to Kadir, who was kind of his opposite, kind of his enemy. He asked that Kadir help his kids make it back to Earth and back to their Earth and back to their mother safely. And so in this issue, Kadir is kind of the hero, and he's just doing the best he can to fulfill his promise, and then just get a bunch of fast-paced action and just suspense. And at the end of all this, we see what kind of the unfoldings of this arc, what this next arc is going to be, and it looks awesome. And I'm so excited about this book. This is one of my favorite independent books right now. So, not Deadly Class, Black Science issue number 7. Awesome book. And anyways, that's it for me, guys. Pretty long review video, so remember to check out those timestamps. Not that it's gonna matter anyways, because this is the end of the video. But anyways, I'm Wellington signing off with a Comic Book Lowdown. I'll see you guys next time.